This is Corner Talk.
What's good, y'all? It is Corner Talk, episode 9. This week we have UFC 327. I'm extremely excited about this card. My boy Taco is fighting on it. Unfortunately, the co-main fell out, but we'll talk about that later. We just got over UFC Vegas, Moicano versus Duncan. There was some banger fights on that card, honestly. A lot of people were talking shit about it early, but I feel like these cards that look like they're going to be terrible always end up delivering, and sometimes they deliver more than like these numbered events. So it's exactly what happened. Overall, I was pretty satisfied with the card. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm living life, Definitely looking forward to this event this weekend. I'm super excited for you. You're gonna be going and seeing, and you have a very busy week ahead of you. Definitely excited, ready to get into it.
Yes, sir. All right, let's go ahead and start with the main card from yesterday. That was Moicano versus Duncan. Let me pull this up. All right. Let me see if I can make this. Ugh. Okay, let's go back to this. All right. So, first fight of the main card, we had my boy Jose Delano versus Robert Ruchala. All week I was telling people Delano was my lock of the card. The guy extremely impressed me when he was on the Contender Series. I thought that he has great volume. He submitted Gene Silva on the regional scene, so he's got submissions. The guy has power. He has a couple of knockouts, and he just constantly pushes forward. He's got great pressure. Amazing head movement as well, which he displayed in this fight. I mean, he just went out there. I thought the commentary was kind of glazing Ruchala, if I'm being quite honest. A majority of the fight, they kind of made it seem like Ruchala was winning. But for me, I had it maybe round 1 Ruchala, but round 2 and round 3 were very clear for Delano, in my opinion. I believe one of the judges gave Delano every round, and the other 2 gave him 2 and 3. Great fight. What did you think of it?
No, absolutely. I think, if I'm being real, I feel bad for Ruchala, man. I feel like he's had a tough go at it for his 2 fights in the UFC. He has Gomis in France, which I'm not a fan of their judging over there a lot of times for their French fighters. And I mean, Gomis, he has like kind of a style that's not very active or entertaining at times, but it'll win. And then he has Jose Delano, who is he is a killer. Robert, he looked good. He kept pushing forward. He kept trying to fight. He was in the fight the whole time, but I mean, he clearly was losing. Absolutely, round 1 he looked really good. I think he probably got that. But then round 2 and 3, Jose found his rhythm, found his range. He started putting it together, and he looked great.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I'm excited to see what the UFC does with this guy going forward. Next, we had one of the biggest fights probably of the night as far as hype, notoriety. Obviously, Tommy McMillan training with Sugar, Tim Welch. They were both in his corner for this fight. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes this guy kind of just looks, what's the word? He just doesn't look technical. Great grappling from what I've seen on the regional scene. All week he was saying he was going to get a knockout. He went in there. He did that. But there's just some things that I think he needs to tidy up going forward, especially if he's going to be fighting, much better opponents, anybody who's ranked. There are some things that I think he needs to clean up because a lot of these guys in the division, I just feel like they might take advantage of his style. He goes all out early. He puts on just a completely like unmaintainable pace, and so far it's worked for him, so kudos to him for that. But I just think going forward, if he tidies those things up, he should continue to have success. But at the same time, I don't know. How did you feel about the fight?
I think it was entertaining. It felt like that Ewo versus Ebo fight, where there's like, oh, these guys are just scrapping, and I don't know. I think I like the chaos he brings. I definitely like that's something a lot of fighters aren't used to, and that is a style that can work very well for people. But I do just see, you know, this is the best of the best. The UFC is the upper echelon of fighting, and once you get to this pedigree, you can't really be doing that.
Yeah.
Doing a bar fight, and it's like it was very entertaining. I'm excited to see what the next fight is for him. He's got a lot of hype behind him. It's really cool of him to go get a finish, but that chaos is a double-edged sword. It's high risk, high reward. So, I'd love to see him work on that a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, we had Ethan Ewing versus Rafael Estevam. To be quite honest, I knew that Ethan Ewing was going to be live late. I knew that Estevam was probably going to be more dangerous early. The big issue or the big question was, would he be able to take down Ethan Ewing and implement, his grappling, which he's extremely good at. He went out there and Ethan Ewing stuffed every takedown. He was clearly the more efficient striker. He took over pretty fast, and he almost put him out in the second, and then he went in there in the third round, landed a nasty liver shot, ended the fight. Ethan Ewing is really good, man. He's well-rounded. His striking is impeccable. He makes great decisions. He has good fight IQ. And one thing that they mentioned on the broadcast that I really liked was that his coaches, like, you could hear them extremely clear. Like, they're so loud. And the entire fight, they were just giving him direction. Do this, do that. Oh, he looks this way. Make sure you adjust to this. And Ethan Ewing was taking all that and doing exactly what they were telling him. He went out there, took another guy's O, and I'm excited to see who they match him up with in the future, man. Like, he's going to have some ranked opponents here soon, and I don't know if anybody's going to beat him up until he gets to, I don't know, maybe the top 10, top 5, but sky's the limit for this guy. So congrats on the win, Ethan Ewing. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, he really shined. It was a master class. I feel like it was anything that Rafael was throwing at him, Ethan had an answer for it. And like you said, his coaches being there, being so active in the coaching. They're not just waiting for in between rounds to give the advice. They're shouting it on the fly. It's a fight, they're screaming it. And I love being very coachable is going to help him so much. I think it's outstanding to go from a plus 600 against Malcolm Wellmaker to now you're a plus 200 or minus 200 rather against Rafael Estevam. Now it's like, depending on his next matchup, it's crazy to think what his odds could be or what his next matchup could be. It's quite the Cinderella story, so to speak.
Yeah, he's going to start getting those Bo Nickel, Peyton Talbot odds.
Yeah,
shortly, but
exactly.
Moving on, we had Abdul Rahman Yakyaev versus Brinson Habedio. This fight went pretty much how everybody thought it was going to go. Abdul Rahman went out there, started putting a pace on Brinson pretty quickly. He did eat a couple of shots, but as soon as he implemented the grappling, he just completely overpowered Habedio, took the back, got the submission, rear naked choke. And, yeah, I mean, as big of a favorite as he was, he did exactly what, the odds makers thought he would. So, good win for him. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, I think it speaks to his fight IQ. He got clipped by Brinson pretty cleanly twice, 2 left hooks, I believe. And, it's why even put yourself in that situation? You're supposed to come in here and be like one of the biggest favorites of the year. Why even do this? Go out there and put on that performance that they're expecting you to perform. And if that means avoiding the knockout and getting, strangling that man, so be it. Go for it. I love that he was able to do it. I think this is the kind of stuff we need to see whenever someone's over a minus 1,000.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, we had Verna Janjanova versus Tabitha Ritchie. Um, Man, I'm upset because all week in my head I was like, dude, Verna, her grappling, her wrestling, she's just gonna absolutely overpower Ritchie. But every analyst out there that puts content out there, I saw them talk about, oh, Tabitha
Always
Ritchie has
bottom
good
time.
grappling. Yeah, everybody was like, Tabitha Ritchie has good grappling. She's got good takedown defense. She's gonna be able to stop Verna's takedowns, and on the feet she has a clear edge. Where was that? Like, Verna, almost every shot that she really like committed to, she absolutely got to the hips of Ritchie and took her down. And granted, she landed 6 out of 12, so 50% cap. But like, if you watch the fight back, it didn't feel like that. It felt like every time she wanted a takedown, she got the takedown, and she was just easily able to hold Ritchie down. Completely out grappled her, showed that there's levels, and she won a dominant decision. So kudos to Verna. She showed that, she's probably going to be a gatekeeper in this division for a while. And Tabitha Ritchie needs to work on her grappling a bit. But how did you feel?
I mean, I felt kind of like an idiot, man, because I said on the pod last week, I was like, Verna by control, she's gonna win. And then like I pick flipped last minute because I gave in to the hype. All the Tabitha Ritchie, she's lowest bottom percentage, she's got the greatest, she's gonna control the boy, blah blah blah. I really bought into that, and I was like, there's a world where that can happen. Verna's 37, and if you're on your back foot, you can't shoot that takedown. If someone pushes you off a bunch, that's going to discourage you. It's going to make you tired. And maybe the only thing I can think is maybe Rishi was hoping for, because we saw in round 3 she came alive a little bit. She started being a little more aggressive. Maybe she was kind of hoping Berna would gas or something, but I can't imagine that that's the smartest approach at this level. I mean, this win could have definitely had a title implications. So it's like that's just too much to risk for that.
Yeah, she started doing what she needed to a bit too late. But
Exactly.
moving on, main event, we had Renato Moicano versus Chris Duncan. Man, I can't get a read on Chris Duncan. Every time I think that Chris Duncan is like clearly the better fighter in the matchup, and I think he's going to go out there and dominate, he doesn't. And I guess that's unfair to say because he was on a win streak, but like in a lot of his fights he gets caught, and then he just makes this like miraculous comeback where he just has more of a dog in him and he takes over and he wins the fights. This was like the absolute worst fight for me to be confident on Chris Duncan. They went out there, Moicano's striking looked great. He was landing on Chris Duncan. Round 2, went out there, got the takedown after he rocked Chris Duncan and dropped him. Easily took the back, immediately went for submissions. It looked like he had a good bite on like 1 or 2, but he like let him go, landed a couple more ground and pound shots, and then he finally sank in the rear naked choke and he put him away. How did you feel about it?
Man, what you just said about Duncan is me with Moicano. He's my betting boogeyman, honestly. Anytime I think that it's gonna be Jalen Turner, it's Moicano. Anytime that I think it's gonna be, I'm not gonna say I thought Moicano was gonna beat Islam, but like he's gonna lose to Islam. He's gonna lose to what's the other one? I mean, Chris Duncan for me. I definitely thought Chris Duncan was gonna get it done. I thought he was gonna be able to make crazier moments, and recency bias with the Dariush fight. I thought Hanato was just on his way out. What was that other one? He had another one he upset me with, but it's just anytime. Yeah, Dariush was, but
I thought he was going to beat Dariush, and then he didn't. It was just, I don't know. I can't get a read on Chris Duncan though. But
I was confident in Chris Duncan, dude. I thought that he was going to be able to, like I was speaking on that Tommy McMillan fight, that chaos, creating
Yeah.
those moments that make it feel like a fight rather than a sport. That a lot of people aren't used to that. A lot of people don't like seeing their own blood. And it's, I'm not necessarily saying Hanato's that guy. I was definitely kind of worried because of my past betting experiences with Hanato and also him being the guys he's fought, dude. Chris Duncan hasn't fought the guys that Hanato has fought and beaten,
Yeah.
you know. So it was I was nervous, but it was a good fight. Great for Hanato.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but real quickly, I just want to give a shout out to our boy Trayshawn Gore. We appreciate you for coming on last week, giving us the interview. We sat down, we had some good conversation. He gave me some insight on how his camp was going and some of the things, lifestyle changes that he made. He sounded extremely locked in. Dude went out there as a massive underdog, absolutely outdogged Azamat Bakoyev and got a nasty guillotine choke again and put him unconscious. So shout out to Trayshawn Gore, man. We love to see it. Love an underdog story. Glad he got the win. But let's move on to this week's card, UFC 327. We have Charles Radke versus Francisco Prado. I'm going to be honest. Charles Radke, another fighter that when I think he's going to do well in a matchup, he goes out there and gets smoked. Francisco Prado, though, I don't know. This guy's kind of mysterious to me because, like, sorry, he has some fights where, like, striking looks great, looks like he has power, but it's like he doesn't do enough. He doesn't do enough in the judges' eyes to secure wins, and to me, that's a big issue. But as far as like this specific matchup goes, I can't confidently say I think Charles Radke is going to go and smoke this dude. Do I think he has a grappling advantage? Yes. Striking advantage? I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty competitive on the feet. I'm going to lean Charles Radke here, but I'm not confident by any means. It should be a good scrap. I think it'll be, competitive, but how do you feel?
I think I lean Radke decision, just because, as you mentioned, the wrestling advantage. And I just, Francisco, he just loses the big moments, like you said. He loses decisions, and then, I believe he lost was it Jamie Malarkey or something? It's like that's never good. I just, I don't know. He's fought some pretty good opposition in his tenure, and he's had success. And I lean Radke decision. I don't see a finish though.
Yeah, the thing that scares me in this specific matchup, though, is that Charles Radke is 35 and
Yeah,
Prado's 20 something, 23. So
that's what I was
to me,
thinking.
that's a red flag. Yeah, that's a red flag. Charles Radke coming off a knockout loss, like, I don't know, kind of sketch. But moving on, Kelvin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque. I think this is a banger. Say what you want about Kelvin Gastelum, multiple weight misses in the last few years. I just don't see where Vicente Luque is going to beat Kelvin Gastelum. Like, does he have better grappling? Yes, but Kelvin Gastelum also has good takedown defense for the most part, unless he's fighting Sean Brady, but obviously Sean Brady is one of the best welterweight grapplers there is. So I do think that, I don't know, man. Kelvin, granted, he lost to Joe Pyfer. Kelvin looked good in that fight. Like, his striking looked good as ever. He showed that he still has a great chin. I don't think Vicente Luque is going to be able to put him away on the feet by any means. Maybe he can utilize the grappling a bit, but I feel like Vicente Luque is also going to get tired if he can't put Kelvin Gastelum away. I think Kelvin Gastelum is going to be more active on the feet. I think he's going to land better shots. So I have to take Kelvin Gastelum. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, honestly I feel bad for Luque because he's had some wars. He's bet. I just honestly I could see him potentially getting finished. Maybe Kelvin decision, but it's just I feel like Vicente. It's just the damage is catching up to him. And honestly, I could see him retiring pretty soon, if not after this fight, if he does lose. I,
Yeah.
respect to Vicente. I think Kelvin's a good enough wrestler. He's not going to be able to implement any of his jujitsu. I think on the striking, Kelvin's definitely, he's been in there with the best from war with Izzy. It's I think this is Kelvin's fight to win.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because Luque does have a 5-inch reach advantage. So maybe he'll
Yeah,
be able to land more significant shots on the feet. I just don't think he has the power to really hurt Calvin, if I'm being honest. So I still lean Calvin. They're both 34, so should be competitive. Should be a good one. This is the fight of the night for me, though. My boy, Taco, Chris Padilla, Markel Maderos. I don't see a world where Markel is a better wrestler, grappler. I mean, Markel has good striking. I will say that. But I think Taco also has great striking. Taco has nasty, aggressive elbows. If you get too close to him, he's going to let you know because he's going to hit you with that elbow. He's going to split you when he does. And I love this fight for Taco. I think that Taco is going to be able to implement the grappling if he wants to. I think he'll be able to take Markel down. I think he's going to have a clear submission threat that if he takes Markel's back, Markel's going to be in trouble. I like this fight for Taco, so I'm picking my boy Taco. How do you feel about it?
absolutely. Taco fight night, man. Love it. I remember, James, he fought James on top. He choked him out in like a minute or whatever. And ever since then, I've been on Taco train. I've always excited. I think that, Markel, he's found success in the UFC, but he's more of a decision guy, whereas Padilla's a killer. He will finish. He went the distance with Jai Herbert. I think that's his only decision in the UFC. He's finishing at this level as consistent as he is. How can you not love him? And it's crazy. He's only minus 195, but then you have Kelvin Gastelum, who, he's minus 200, and what was the one before that? He's also like a minus 200, and it's like I'm more sure about Taco. I feel like so he'll
I
fight
think
for your
it's
money.
just the fact that it's a short notice fight. This fight's only been made for a few weeks, so
Yeah,
I think it's the fact that both these guys don't really have the time to adjust to each other's styles. But like I said, I think Taco's better everywhere, so I don't take the line too much into consideration. I think that it's just that it's a short notice fight that got added to the card, but I just don't see Markel Maderos having a good sparring partner to mimic Chris Padilla, to be quite honest. Like Markel
yeah,
Maderos' fight style is kind of easily replicatable or whatever. But I just feel like it's Taco's fight. Obviously, I'm biased, but I love this fight, man. I'm looking forward to it.
absolutely.
It's moving on. We have Lupe Godinez versus Tatiana Suarez. I love Poopy Loopy, but I think Tatiana Suarez is just going to absolutely dominate in this one. I know she's had a couple of tough fights recently, but those are against the best of the best in the division. Unfortunately, Loopy's not at those girls' levels or level, and I think Tatiana Suarez is going to just do what she did before. She's going to be able to take Loopy down, and it's going to look bad. It's going to look like female Hamzat. But how do you feel about it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that one blemish on her record is to Zhang Wei Li, and Zhang's like the goat, yo. So that's really good. And like you said, love Poopy, but I just think that coming off of two fights removed from fighting for the title and then a dominant win after that, it's Tatiana Suarez's night. I like that you get good value on it. Usually, whenever I don't know, it seems pretty black and white to me that yeah, she's gonna win. And usually when it's that case, they kind of get ridiculous with the lines. They'll start being like minus 400 or whatever. So it's great to
Yeah,
see some value on that.
I agree. I agree. Moving on, we have Gamrot versus Esteban Rivovic. I'm a huge Rivovic fan. I saw this dude fight at the Sphere. Um, Obviously, he trains at Kill Cliff. He's got a lot of killers there. Gilbert Burns, RoboCop, Alexei Paragande from PFL, um, Michael Johnson. Does Michael Johnson train there? Fuck, he might be ATT. I think he's Killcliff. But regardless, he's got great people to train with at Killcliff. Gamrot, in my opinion, man, if he can't out wrestle you and hold you down, I just don't feel like he's going to win. The dude's had some lucky wins in the UFC. When he fought Fiziev, dude, I was so confident in Fiziev, and then Fiziev blew out his knee or whatever, ACL, and Gamrot got the TKO win. And it's like, as soon as he fought Charles Oliveira, though, absolutely dominated. And I just feel like
that has to be so scary. Having Charles on your back and a whole Coliseum people just, oh, I was like, oh my God.
The only way I see Gamrot winning this fight is if he uses the wrestling and wins a boring decision. So I'm going to pick Esteban Rivovic. I think that if he can stop the takedowns, he's going to be more dangerous on the feet. And I like him in the spot. He's a slight underdog. So give me Esteban Rivovic. How do you feel about it?
No, I love Esteban. I definitely hope that he can win. Unfortunately, I feel like Mataush will be able to implement his game plan a lot more effectively. He's been there, done that, fighting the who's. He beat Armin. Esteban, he hasn't fought these guys until he's fought them. This is his first time. This is his chance to start fighting those guys. He's a young guy. He's the next generation of what we're getting from the UFC. So it's like, he's very exciting, and I really want him to win, especially because of Mataush's style. It's not for me. And but I do think that he'll probably be able to implement his game. He's good on the ground. He's on the next level. Well, Rivovic has really good takedown defense and works to get up. Mataush, he just chain wrestles so efficiently. And his gas tank is.
But don't forget that Dan Hooker fight. He was able to out wrestle Dan Hooker for 2 rounds, but as soon as he wasn't, because he was tired, Dan Hooker just pieced him up on the feet and made it look easy, and that could definitely happen here. But moving on, this is another banger fight in my opinion. We have Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. How do you think this one goes?
I think Randy Brown KO. I don't know. Holland's really tough. He didn't get put away by Jack Della. I don't know. Personally, I mean, especially after this Malott fight, or whatever, Mike Malott, I feel like this isn't the same Holland that's 2020. And, all respect, I love his activity, and that's something that shits on a lot of the other fighters that they fight maybe once a year or something. I love his strength of schedule, and he's doing this against the best of the best. So I love his consistency. It's just, I don't know. And Randy Brown, he's getting up there. He's about to be 36. I just think that he's very, very big. He's very powerful. And Kevin, I just feel like he might, I don't know if it's distractions or what, but it doesn't feel the same. I feel like Randy will get the better of the exchanges. He might be able to get a KO. If not, he'll probably have the bigger moments towards a decision.
Okay. I disagree.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Kevin Holland. I'm also a fan of Randy Brown. The problem here is I think that Kevin Holland
grappling.
I think Randy Brown has good grappling. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, but I think that the grappling, at least early, but I think early the grappling is going to be kind of even. I think that it's going to be competitive, but I don't think Kevin Holland is going to go in there and just submit Randy Brown off rip. My problem with Randy Brown is he gets kind of lazy at times, and in certain fights, he lets his hands down, he doesn't move his head, and we just saw he got caught and slept. And Kevin Holland is not a guy that you want to get lazy with, because Kevin Holland has long, lanky-ass arms. He's got power in those arms. He's got weird, unorthodox striking that is extremely effective, and he can hit you from fucking anywhere and hurt you. And I just feel like it's not going to happen early. I think Kevin Holland late is going to clip Randy Brown, hurt him, put him on skates, And if Kevin Holland ends up taking him down, taking the back or something, I think it's wraps. So I actually like Kevin Holland here. Um, I know he's a dog. I'm going to go back-to-back dogs. Give me Kevin Holland by submission late or possibly KO late. And I just think he's going to be able to get it done.
Hey, I'd love for that to happen. I'd love to get to see another Trailblazer highlight.
For sure. Moving on, we have Aaron Pico versus Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull's had some lackluster performances so far in the UFC. There's a lot of hype around him. Obviously, you know, he at least won a fight in the UFC. He's not getting patchy mixed. But Aaron Pico on the other side also has had some he's had a rough time in the UFC so far. In his debut, gets slept by Lerone Murphy in a fight that I thought he was winning up to that point. He looked great. He looked aggressive. He was landing big shots, but he got caught slipping. I just don't see Pitbull to be the guy to do that to Aaron Pico, to be quite honest. I think Aaron Pico, he's going to be aggressive again. I think that grappling-wise, he's going to be able to defend takedowns against Pitbull if Pitbull tries to shoot on him. And I think that Aaron Pico is the better striker here. He's younger. He's quicker. He's got more power. Dare I say, well, I mean, I guess he's a minus 300 favorite. It's not that crazy of a pick. Give me Aaron Pico. How do you?
Nah, dude. It's so crazy, isn't it? I think that the UFC kind of made this just to laugh. Like, I think they made this fight just to be like, fuck Bellator. Like, I don't know. I think if Pitbull could stop the takedowns, which, I mean, dude, that's a big if. He's so aggressive, and that's why he gets knocked out. That's why he has so many KO losses, is that aggression. It's living and dying by the sword. And I mean, I don't see Patricio getting that. I don't see him capitalizing and getting a KO. I don't see him winning any grappling exchanges, really. I mean, at least if I'm him, I'm not trying to engage in that. I'll use grappling to keep him off of me, but then I'll separate and try to keep it at striking. But even then, Pico's got power, dude. And, you know, that power is just going to get opened up by his huge takedown threat. So it's a minus 300 favorite. You know, this is, I guess, not too crazy. That's just risky.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bet on Pico, but unless I'm betting like a finish. But 29 versus a 38-year-old. Give me the 29-year-old. He's got, you know, athleticism on his side. He's got youth. He's got speed, power. I just think that this is going to be Aaron Pico's fight to win. But moving on, we have Battle of the Unks. We got Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. I love Cub Swanson, dude. The guy's an OG. He's from California. I always got to rep the California dudes. Unfortunately, I don't see him being able to beat Nate Landwehr. I think that Nate Landwehr, he's aggressive. He's got good striking. He's got a chin on him. He's tough. I just see Nate Landwehr being more efficient here, unfortunately, as much as I love Cub Swanson. So I'm going to pick Nate Landwehr, but not a super confident pick. I just think that, you know, Cub Swanson isn't going to be able to necessarily put Nate's lights out. And I think that Nate will be in there competitive a majority of the fight. So I'm going Nate Landwehr. How do you feel about it?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the experience side on Cub Swanson would know how to deal with the fighter like Nate the Train. But I just, you know, he's coming off 2 knockout losses. It could have almost was 3 with Emmers, but then he, you know, rallied, made that crazy, got the KO win himself. And these other KO losses are not coming until the 3rd round. So it's not like he's real chinny and the damage is accumulating, but he does have that style where he, you know, I'll get beat up and I'm tougher than you. And I don't know. I don't know if that works against Cub Swanson because he's been there, done that. Huge vet himself. I don't know. I think it's crazy. He's the underdog, but I could definitely see Nate winning. So I don't know on that one.
I think it's just youth. I think that's what the odds are, you know, kind of leaning towards.
I think Cub's the cleaner striker, so it's like, I don't know if he's able to implement his game plan. I could see a Swanson decision.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Moving on, we have Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. I love this fight. Unfortunately, regardless of how clean Dominic Reyes has looked in his, what was his last fight? I know he won a
He's
few
on a
and then he
tear,
did
isn't he?
lose.
Oh no, he did lose the last one. Ulberg, he got knocked
Yeah,
out.
okay. Ulberg. Not a bad loss, to be fair. All
Yeah.
things considered, Ulberg's fighting for the belt on this card. Not a bad L to take. Had a couple of wins before that. Johnny Walker, huge upset against. Yeah, Johnny Walker, huge upset against. What's his name? Yeah, Zhang. Oh man, I have a problem with this matchup for the simple fact that I can't trust either one of their chins. To be honest, like the first clean shot from either guy might just absolutely flatline the other. That being said,
Walker's huge.
Oh man, Johnny Walker is a giant. Granted, I mean 6'4", Dominic Reyes is pretty big himself, but reach advantage on Johnny Walker's side. We know he has nasty calf kicks. Take a shot in the dark. Give me the dog, Johnny Walker. I'm excited for this fight, though. I know it's going to be violence. I know somebody's going to sleep. So, how do you feel?
I'm gonna say Reyes, just because I don't want to hold it against him. That him coming off a knockout loss versus Walker coming off of, was it a submission win? I don't know. He finished Mignon or whatever, TKO. So I think Reyes, you can't knock the guy for getting knocked out by Carlos Ulberg. He was on a tear, 3 KO wins straight. That he was working on it. His last loss before that was 2022 to Ryan Spann, when Ryan Spann had a lot of hype behind him. He was a prospect, up and comer. Very exciting. And it's just, I think I'm not going to forget that this was the guy that beat John Jones. I don't want to discredit him. That being said, he does have. He did. But that's all. I gave the quotes, man. I gave the quotes. But I do. He has a big test. Johnny Walker is big, does have big power. Knocked out Khalil Roundtree. I do think Dominic Reyes will be able to get it done, maybe.
Fair enough. Moving on, we have Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett. I've been pretty vocal on Instagram about how I feel about Josh Hokett. I don't like the guy. I think the personality is extremely corny. I don't even think he's that good, but obviously he keeps proving me wrong and keeps winning fights. But look at the level of competition of the guys he's beating versus Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is his toughest test yet. Huge jump as far as, rankings go, as far as the opponent. I just think Curtis Blades is going to be able to just negate the wrestling. Josh Hokett's not going to be able to out-wrestle Curtis Blades. And Josh Hokett also is not Tom Aspinall. I don't think he's going to be able to outstrike Curtis Blades and, land clean flush strikes on Curtis. So I like Curtis here. I think Curtis Blades is going to get it done. I'm hoping he gets it done. And he's an underdog. So apparently I just like all the underdogs on this card. But give me Curtis Blades. Hopefully I'll be there screaming my lungs off that Curtis Blades just knocked out Josh Hokett in round 1. How do you feel about it?
I'll put it to you this way. I lost with him fighting Aspinall the first time because of that injury. I had Aspinall KO. So I was a little sour with him, but I've backed him since he beat Jalton Almeida. I think, Curtis Blades, dude, he's just disrespected. I think he's getting a KO this fight. I think he's bigger than this guy who has a wrestling advantage or whatever. But Curtis Blades is a freaking awesome wrestler. And then, was it his last fight that was a bit lackluster or whatever? He was down on himself. Yeah, Kniev. But it's like he got the job done, and it's it's some nights at the office are not what you want. That happens. But he's aware of it. He's been there, done that. Yeah, I can see him getting a KO. I can see it being this is Josh Hokett's first real he's 8-0. He hasn't felt that opposition of I'm losing this fight really. At
Yeah.
least not that I've seen. And he was like a football player before, whereas Curtis Blades, he's been doing this.
Couldn't agree more. Moving on, we have Azamat Mirzakhanov versus Paulo Costa. I'm sorry, Paulo Costa, but the secret juice, it ain't helping you in this one. I've been a huge fan of Azamat. I've picked him in every single fight he's had so far. He's always delivered. Dude's a nasty striker. Granted, he is small for 205, but he doesn't have to really worry about that here with Paulo Costa. He has a small height disadvantage. The reach is almost about the same. Paulo Costa at 205, I just don't know how he's going to look. He's also looked slow in fights where he missed weight when he was a little heavier. I think that Azamat's going to be quicker. He's got power. He's a sniper. Give me Azamat to win this fight pretty definitively. How do you feel about it?
I could see him getting a KO. Azamat is not a dude you want to hit or get hit by, and Paulo's been put away. I think he's very good at being elusive, but I don't see that happening against Mirzakhanov. I can see him getting a KO. I think that it's Paulo just really hasn't had that same aura about him in a while. And I think that's the exact opposite for Azamat.
I agree. Moving on to the main event. Obviously, I would have loved to have seen Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira, but unfortunately, the fight was canceled because Joshua Van got injured. So Azamat versus Costa is now the co-main event. This is the main event. We have Jiri Procházka versus Carlos Ulberg. Love watching Jiri fight. The guy is just an absolute assassin. He's always there, pushing forward, extremely aggressive. Was on an unbelievable tear before he met Alex Pereira. And the dude's only lost to Alex Pereira, really. So, like, what are we doing? Like, people are counting Jiri out so much. I hate to break it to you guys, but Carlos Ulberg is not Alex Pereira. He does not have... I mean, he has power, obviously, but he doesn't have the finesse that Pereira has in the striking. He doesn't have the aura that Alex Pereira has. And I've seen Carlos Ulberg go to the later rounds and look like a much different fighter. He slows down because he does throw hard with every single shot. And that's just a terrible matchup with somebody like Jiri, because unless you put Jiri out early like Alex did, Yuri's going to eventually take over. The guy doesn't get tired. And I just think that this fight can look identical to the Khalil Roundtree fight. I think Carlos Ulberg can have success early. I think he's going to land shots on Jiri. But if Yuri's chin holds up, Carlos Ulberg is going to be in for a tough third, fourth, and fifth round. I like Jiri in this spot. I know a lot of people are picking Carlos Ulberg because they just think he's going to get it done early and quick. But give me Jiri Procházka, man. Give me Jiri. Get the win. Take that belt back to his wife and soon-to-be baby. And give us just some beautiful clips to, just feed the aura of Jiri Procházka and give us just some amazing moments for UFC 327. How do you feel about this?
Dude, all right. So first off, I'll just say it's Yuri's belt already. Carlos is 35. The 35-year-old belt curse thing, it's already Yuri's belt. But no, I do think Jiri KO. I remember I was watching the fight, the Khalil Roundtree fight, and my wife was sitting next to me. And, she's not really watching it too much. And I'm like, oh, Khalil's winning, but that Mountain Man, I'm telling you, he's going to come back. By round 2, I'm like, Mountain Man, my love, look, Mountain Man. And then round 3, I'm screaming it. I'm like, look at he's got it. And it's just, I think that the round 5 sub over Glover, if that doesn't sum up Yuri's heart and will to win, nothing does, dude. He's gonna get it. He won't, unless he's getting dropped like you said by Alex Pereira. It's just not happening. Jiri will find a way to win. He's tough as hell. Broadcast probably gonna be glazing Carlos the first round or two, talking about, oh, what is Jiri doing? He's so unorthodox. But that unorthodox, especially whenever you're tired, that's giving you looks you don't know where they're coming from. And the power he has, Yuri KO.
Love it. Love it. Couldn't agree more. All right. That is UFC 327. I'm looking forward to that. It should be an exciting card. Let's talk about some MMA news. We have, as we were just saying, Joshua Van. Obviously, he's injured. I'm upset because I was really looking forward to this fight on this card. I thought that Tyra's grappling was just going to be too much. I know that people are like, oh, Joshua Van's takedown defense is great, blah, blah, blah. He's got great hands. I agree. He does. But he hasn't faced Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira's wrestling is the best in this division, in my opinion. Grappling, I mean, him and Pantoja have the best in the division. Like, Tatsuro Taira also has hands. He can strike, and he's so aggressive. When he takes you down, if he takes your back, even if he just gets a hook in, the dude's landing shots to the side of your head the entire time to distract you make a mistake, and then he capitalizes on it. So I thought that Taira was going to win. I was picking Taira, but unfortunately, Joshua Van is out. He was just coaching Dakota Hope this past weekend in Vegas. They moved the fight to UFC 328 in Jersey now, so that card is absolutely stacked. What do you think about the injury?
I think it sucks. Like you said, definitely was looking forward to that fight. I disagree, though. I don't know. I think it's just because I want to give into that Van aura he's got right now. You think about how Pantoja broke its arm. It's because essentially Van was taking him down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I love that disregard of your pedigree. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And it's just, that's the kind of dog you need to have if you're a fighter. That's the kind of dog that made him a champion. I think, Brandon Royval was probably a huge lesson for Tatsuro. I don't know. He could definitely get the job done. That was a killer fight. I would have rather personally seen Van versus Cop, though.
Well,
I know that's irrelevant. That was just,
you saw what Taira did to Moreno, though.
Yeah.
And arguably, Moreno has better grappling than Joshua Van. I will say Joshua Van has a striking advantage, but grappling-wise, what Tatsuro Taira did to Moreno was just next level.
It made him look like a baby.
Yeah. But that sucks. At least we get to see it next month. Moving on, we were just talking about him in the main event, UFC 327. Our boy Jiri is expecting a baby, I believe, due this week, like any day now. And he pretty much has to go in there, win the belt, and fly directly home. So I hope he gets it done, man. This is like a storybook ending. This is the type of shit you see in movies. The guy's fighting, for his family. He's making his money. He gets the job done. He wins the belt. And then he goes home, welcomes his brand new baby in, and lives happily ever after. What do you think about it?
Dude, shout out Lady Jiri. Are you freaking kidding me? What wife is letting your fucking husband, baby daddy, or whatever, father of your child you're about to give birth to, go fight for a world title, arguably the day you're going to give birth? It's like, and it's awesome that we get to still get this fight, that he still gets to get this opportunity to tell his story. You saw him cry whenever Pereira got the belt back, and he was like, all right, so this is fate. I get to right this wrong. And it's like, that fight didn't happen, but he's still getting to get what he thinks is his. He never lost the belt. He relinquished it. He did the right thing. And it's just, I think that it's awesome. I think that it's freaking awesome. I hope that he gets to make it home in time, and that he gets to have essentially the happiest week of his life.
I hope the baby comes out with the little ponytail stuff. Just like here, just with the little, eye black and like some ninja shit on him, samurai sword in hand, just the most Jiri baby you can picture,
I hope before it comes out, you just hear a little baby say, "I'm coming."
Let's go for that. Let's go for that. Just that's gonna be the baby's first words.
Exactly.
But moving on, our guy who can never stay out of the damn headlines, Jon Jones. He was just involved.
What, bro?
Pause that. He was just involved in a road rage incident, I guess, if you will. And I'm going to start off by saying kudos to Jon Jones, man. He's matured a bit. But let's watch the video and then we'll give our thoughts.
Trying to get into. You're almost fucking hitting me, bro.
Dude, I swear.
You gotta calm down, bro.
Yeah, bro, you gotta learn how to drive, bro. You
gotta relax yourself, bro.
You're almost hitting me with your truck, bro. You're almost hitting me, bro. What the fuck? In my fucking lane and shit, bro. Come on.
That guy has no idea the amount of danger he was in. Not only is that Jon Jones the baddest motherfucker on the planet, I wouldn't want to fight that dude in an octagon with rules. In the street where he can eye poke you, knee you, kick you in the nuts, I would not mess with Jon Jones. I don't care if the dude hit me and it was completely his fault. I'm calling my insurance automatically right then and there and saying, I hit somebody, I'm sorry, I will pay the money. But I'm not attacking Jon Jones like this. And then Jon Jones clearly has something in his pocket, which we all know what it is. I don't know what this dude was thinking. I don't know if he knew it was Jon Jones and he was just trying to get some content like, oh, this is going to go viral. Let me just be aggressive. Or I don't know what he was thinking, but insane. Kudos to Jon Jones. You've matured a lot, brother. Handled the situation perfectly. He calmly just told him, you need to calm down, blah, blah, blah. Gave him the bird and then left. How do you feel about it?
I don't know how I feel about it, man. Like, I see a video, Jon Jones, road rage, and your mind automatically goes to what's happened before, you know, his past and everything. And I don't know. He definitely, like, you know, it's good to see him not headbutting a police car or nothing in this. It's good to see that he didn't definitely like handicap a dude or something, because, you know, that man was being aggressive and he did de-escalate it. He told him calm down. But if I was that dude, I'd have shit my pants. If I knew that was Jon Jones, like, coming up to me, and then, like, he looks like he's packing, dude. Like, he looks like he's got a gun. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
You gotta watch your mouth.
That dude's insane. But thank you guys for watching this episode, UFC 327, episode 9 of Corner Talk. We appreciate you every week. We've been climbing in subscribers, so we appreciate you guys for that. Keep leaving comments on the videos. Keep liking them. Keep sharing them. If you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe. Follow us on Instagram as well. Do you have anything for them?
No, man, just thank you guys for coming back. Thank you for watching. You know, this is a passion project for us. You know, it's something we just do for the love of the game. And so knowing that you guys are also enjoying it, that means the world to us. Just keep doing what you're doing. Tell your friends. If you're a fighter watching this, hey, we've had 2 fighters in a row that win their fights after interviewing. So, you know, keep that in mind. We're good luck. We're going to keep it going. And, you know, thank you guys for your time. And I'll see you next week, man.
Absolutely. Hopefully I will have an interview coming out later this week. It's not going to be in this video, but it'll be a separate video on the channel. I'll also be posting some other content as well later in the week. Probably do like a whole vlog style as well of the whole time that I'm in Miami. So that'll come out probably, if not Sunday, sometime next week. But stay tuned. We appreciate it. And thank you for watching.
This is Corner Talk.